In the last 2 to 3 years, we have really walked through some really difficult times. I struggle with arthritis and depression, and I have fibromyalgia. And the type of arthritis that I have is the deteriorating. It deteriorates your joints. So that in itself put me in a position where I had to quit my job. And financially, that was a big thing for us, because financially it meant I couldn't contribute. I was waiting for surgery for my knee, and during my waiting time, I struggled immensely. I waited 4 years for my call for my surgery, and it was a long 4 years. But when I did get the call, I thought, it's going to be 3 to 6 months healing time, and I'll be able to go back to work. I realized that it didn't quite go that way. I had a lot of complications from after the surgery with sciatic pain and different things, only to find out it was deterioration in my spine from the arthritis. But when they did the surgery, it agitated that. So that meant that it was a longer recovery time for me. So I spent over a year recovering from that surgery, which meant I couldn't go back to work. So it was a difficult time for us to get through in a lot of ways.
So we've been going through all the hard times with my wife's medical problems at the time, and we were trying to deal with those the best we can, when we find out that my son has cancer. So he had to start treatments right away, and they were going to be hard on him. He's going to have bad days, so we knew we were going to have a hard road ahead of us.
During his first rounds of chemo after he was diagnosed, the doctors had tried to mentally prepare him for how sick he was going to get, how much weight he was going to lose, and so forth. And through all of that, God's hand was upon that situation, because he only lost 15 pounds. And then he started gaining it back. The doctors were surprised, because they don't usually see that, because he was receiving aggressive chemo. He knew God's hand was upon that situation, because he didn't get sick like the doctors had tried to prepare him for. So that was a blessing for us, and we seen God's hand in that. The doctors had said to us when we had taken him down for one of his final appointments during the first round of chemo, like through the first few months that he had cancer, and they basically told him, you dodged a bullet. But we knew in our spirits that it was God.
"5 months he had really good before he started feeling sick again. And when he started feeling sick really fast. Went back to the hospital, at which time they told him that the cancer didn't only come back, it spread. And it spread to the point where his prognosis wasn't good. Somewhere along the way, he got this ring. The ring had a pentagram on the top of it, and Catlin, with the people and the stuff that he was hanging around with, that was cool or whatever. The same people that were trying to drag him back into that world, and he was trying to get away from. God has allowed us to witness Catlin's coming back to him. He put a nurse in his path that put it on herself to literally use her own phone so Catlin could FaceTime me directly. Well, he told me that he threw away the ring, and the nurse told me that, yeah, he gave her the ring and told her to throw it in the garbage. He didn't want anything to do with that. He needed God in his life, and he knew it. And he knew what was in store for him. He knew, like, Catlin, at that point, I think, accepted his, I guess for better words, fate. So he
wanted us
to know that he was okay. After the conversation finished, he actually had the nurse pull his mask that was used to help him breathe down enough and take a picture of him smiling and send it to me. I still have trouble looking at the picture, but he wanted to know where he was.
After Catlin had passed, it was a very difficult time emotionally and spiritually. And it almost felt like the enemy wanted to come in and plant doubt. Make you doubt that he had made his heart right with God. So it was a couple days after he had passed that one of my good Christian friends had sent me a scripture. God showed us that because he took him home when he was 30, it's 40 less years of suffering here on earth, 40 less years of torment from the enemy, 40 more years of paradise. And I never really looked at it in that light. But once I read that scripture, I basically knew in my heart, it was like, that's definitely a good way to look at it.
Just looking at it as a whole, you can think that where is the good? But through Catlin's illness, he turned back to God. We prayed for Catlin to be healed. God answered that prayer, not in the way that we would have thought, we would have expected or would have been praying for, because now, as Catlin passed, he's in a better place. He's not in pain no more. He's not sick no more. So he is healed. He's on the other side.
A lot of times when you walk through adversity, a lot of times you feel like you go through a period where you feel so alone. You don't know, what to do, who to turn to, and you just, God is there, but sometimes he feels like he's kind of far away. But through all of this, God has made his presence known so strong. And through that, he's helped me deal with my depression, and I just felt like he wrapped his arms around me and said, you're my child, I'm going to look after you.